Hey guys, what is going on? This is Wrestlelamia, back with another episode. The WWE Draft will begin on 11 October and conclude on 14 October as the WWE tries to milk the event for everything it can. However, who will end up where? Join us now as Wrestlelamia looks at the WWE 2019 Draft and predicts who will go where. Headed for Raw, Randy Orton. While the Viper has hinted that he wants a rematch with Brock Lesnar, the Beast seems to have his hands full with Cain Velasquez for the immediate future. Orton has been on Smackdown since 2016, so a move to Raw means fans watching the Red brand get to see Orton battle some new opponents. Whether Orton feuds with a wrestler or competes for titles, you can be sure the WWE will have him positioned in the upper card or main event. Charlotte. The Queen may find the Smackdown women's roster a bit crowded if our predictions for trades to the blue brand prove true. Although Charlotte is the current Smackdown champion, there's no reason to believe that she can't take the title with her as the WWE plays hard and fast with the rules. If Flair is forced to drop the belt, it creates a storyline of her being robbed of her belt and hungry to capture the Raw Women's Championship. If Sasha Banks remains on Raw, the two could renew their rivalry, either over the title or in a straight-up feud. Andrade. Andrade needs a change of scenery after a hit-and-miss run on SmackDown. Andrade's series against Rey Mysterio was refreshing, and the WWE should consider renewing it if Rey stays on the Red brand. Zelina Vega. If Andrade moves to Raw, it's a no-brainer that Vega should accompany him as the two make a fantastic team. Alistair Black. This Dutch superstar seems to bring everything to the table: charisma, in-ring talent, and the ability to talk. Black hasn't been doing much on SmackDown, and he's likely to get lost in the shuffle when the show moves to Fox, especially if WWE drafts the Raw superstars we're predicting. Black would work well on Raw as a heel, or better yet, as an anti-hero/tweener who battles heels and faces alike. If Black could be built up correctly, a Black vs. Fiend feud would likely be huge. For now, he needs to go to Raw and for the WWE to build him back up into a star, instead of keeping him on the sidelines withering away. Shayna Baszler. NXT fans have been raving about Baszler's work in the NXT women's division, with conventional wisdom being that she's done everything possible there and needs to move on to the main roster. The WWE should learn their lesson from overpushing Lacey Evans and not push Baszler into the World Championship picture initially. Instead, she should start at the bottom, earning an impressive win streak before challenging for the Raw Women's title. The Street Profits. WWE has slowly introduced the Street Profits to the fans, using them like a Greek chorus during episodes of Raw and at pay-per-views as they describe the action and share their thoughts on things. As Wrestlelamia has noted in earlier videos, Vinnie Mac is looking to attract a younger demographic, and the Street Profits are seen as one way of doing so. With Paul Heyman's knack for keeping wrestling relevant, don't be shocked to see him bring in Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins to Raw, continuing to feature them in backstage segments, but also putting them in the ring. Headed for SmackDown. With rumors persisting that the WWE is positioning SmackDown as equal to Raw, or even replacing Raw as the company's flagship show, you can expect to see some high-profile draft choices as well as the typical draft choices made just to shake things up, regardless of any long-term planning for the draftees. Brock Lesnar. Yes, this one is a no-brainer since the Beast challenged Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, setting up the huge match for Friday Night SmackDown's debut on Fox on 4 October. Still, it bears mentioning though, as Lesnar hasn't been seen on the blue brand since 2016 when he was drafted to Raw. Lesnar's presence on SmackDown shows just how much the WWE is hoping to build it up as an equal to Raw after years of it being perceived, and often promoted, as a secondary roster. Becky Lynch. In an incredible instance of bad promoting, the WWE has been including the man on advertisements for SmackDown's move to Fox, and while Lynch moving to SmackDown could be a big swerve, it looks like Lynch is heading to the blue brand to resume her rivalry with Asuka. Lacey Evans. While Evans dropped her series to Natalya, the WWE's sassy Southern Belle doesn't seem to be headed for curtain jerking anytime in the near future. With some analysts seeing Friday Night SmackDown as the WWE's featured brand, Evans would get a chance for more mainstream exposure, and there's no question she's one of the most charismatic women working in WWE, even if her ring work still needs improvement. Ricochet. Ricochet's Raw career started off strong with his United States Championship win over Samoa Joe and subsequent matches against AJ Styles. However, Ricochet's career has sputtered of late, and a move to SmackDown could not only help him, but add some new matchups, such as Ricochet versus Shinsuke Nakamura, which could blow the roof off of whatever arena they're working in. AOP. The WWE have been promoting the Authors of Pain with continued hype videos, with Akam and Razor boasting that they are WWE's most dominant team. Two questions come to mind. 1. Will they get a push once they resume wrestling? And 2. What brand will they work best on? It's a tough sell because Raw has a strong heel team in the OC, and SmackDown has a strong heel team with the Revival. Can either brand support another strong heel team when both brands' tag division runs hot and cold? While they've been missing in action since WrestleMania 35, the AOP are still listed as Raw superstars, which makes it likely the WWE will give them a new home on SmackDown in order to keep them fresh. Don't be surprised if WWE pits the AOP versus Heavy Machinery before setting up an AOP versus New Day program. Zack Ryder. Since WWE doesn't know what to do with Long Island Iced Z, it's likely they'll decide it's time to move him to SmackDown so they can spin their creative wheels there. Don't expect anything new with Ryder, and it's likely he'll disappear for weeks at a time. Moving Ryder to NXT likely won't do anything to help NXT, or Ryder for that matter. Cesaro. Like Zack Ryder, WWE will likely move the Swiss Superman to SmackDown for a change of scenery. There, Cesaro can do what he's been doing best on Raw, putting over opponents before disappearing back into the woodwork. Although Cesaro has the size and skills to put on good matches with anyone in WWE, he could make a decidedly good opponent for big men such as Bobby Lashley or Brock Lesnar. That's not going to happen, but we can always dream. EC3. EC3's Raw career has been a dud, and while there's no guarantee he'll do any better on Friday nights, it's difficult to imagine him doing any worse. What's likely to happen is that Carter will be one of the last superstars drafted, largely because Vince McMahon forgot he was working for the WWE. NXT. Another fascinating question surrounding the draft is how many Raw and SmackDown superstars will end up on NXT. There have been rumors of appearances by these stars in order to boost NXT's ratings, with initial speculation being that Kevin Owens might end up there. Instead, Finn Balor showed up on NXT on 2 October, saying he was now committed to NXT. Still, how much will the draft impact the yellow brand? Consider Triple H's comments on how NXT stacks up against the blue and red brands. I still think it needs more time to be considered in that same breath, and I think that over the next few months, hopefully, we're going to get there very quickly as this show does well. But I think the draft is much more about creating the brand split, that having two distinct rosters between Raw and SmackDown. You're going to see that happening, and I think that's what this draft's about. Nonetheless, as recently seen with Tyler Breeze, Fandango, and Finn Balor, there is a precedent for WWE superstars jumping to the yellow brand. It seems counterintuitive to put top stars from the main roster on NXT, but after a shaky start against AEW Dynamite, it's more likely the WWE wants to add some stars to NXT. The real quandary is whether certain main roster stars are the right fit for NXT, and whether they'll overshadow NXT's generally smaller wrestlers. For example, Braun Strowman might add some star power to NXT, but he doesn't seem like a good fit for NXT at this point in his career, and Wrestlelamia is by no means suggesting he's going there. Also keep in mind that there's continued whispering that 205 Live may be cancelled, with many of its stars being absorbed under the NXT umbrella. NXT seems like a better place for them than Raw or SmackDown, considering how poorly cruiserweights fare on the main roster. For now, Wrestlelamia is going to wait and see how the WWE addresses 205 Live before speculating on the entire roster's future. For the time being, you may see the following superstars head to NXT to revive their careers and round out NXT now that it's a 2-hour show on the USA Network. The Lucha House Party. Gran Metalik, Lince Dorado, and Kalisto would all make excellent additions to NXT. As the WWE contemplates a partnership with a major Mexican promotion to counter AEW's alliance with Lucha Libre giant AAA, a Lucha House Party draft to NXT seems like a natural fit. NXT should consider adding a 6-man tag championship depending on a potential partnership with a group such as CMLL, given the popularity of trios matches in Lucha Libre. Cedric Alexander. If the rumors that Vince McMahon has given up on Cedric Alexander's push are true, the WWE needs to move him to NXT, especially if the Cruiserweight Championship moves there. A run in NXT could give Alexander a chance to shine and to possibly earn a second chance at a push on Raw or Smackdown. If Vince McMahon does end up devoting the majority of his time to the XFL, there's always the possibility of a talent like Alexander slipping past Vince back into a push on the main roster. The OC. As wild as this prospect may seem, AJ Styles, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows are the perfect fit for NXT. All three wrestlers are smart favorites based on their work rate and prior run in New Japan Pro Wrestling's Bullet Club faction, and the heel trio could have a number of great matches against NXT stars. Add in a possible heel turn by Finn Balor, and the OC now has 4 members to feud with the Undisputed Era. This feud could be a cornerstone of NXT programming over the next several months. Well guys, there you have it, Wrestlemania's predictions for the upcoming WWE Draft. Who do you want to see drafted to which brand? Do you think the WWE needs a draft other than as a rating stunt? Be sure to leave your comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, follow us on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll see you next time for some more wrestling content.